some maybe concluding words from the each of you in the next couple of minutes, probably. I'll just go to Gargi now. So overall, what's the take on this?
Thank you for having us over here, and I guess it was a very fruitful discussion that we had. So what we learned is during the time of COVID, I guess the situation is similar, more or less similar for all of us. And post-COVID, what we can do is something that I take from here. So not only I believe all the players would be on the same line, like how we can operate not only in the major cities, the metro cities, but also the tier 2 cities, and how we can seek government support in having the opportunity. That's a bit from my end. Thank you.
Yeah. So coming now to Mr. Jain. So sir, what are your concluding words on this?
So I have learned so many things from this panel, and thank you for the big part of this one. So in this respect, Aniket last said that that is very valid point, that any sharing system cannot be successful without the pick and drop facility. So in rural areas and semi-urban areas, we need to find out some place where we should have a facility of pick and drop kind facility. Either Reddy is also saying that right point, that we will not get the too much trips out of one or two stations, more than one or two stations, but we cannot achieve the desired results without having the number of stations. So these are the two controversial things we have to work out on this, and so many other things. Infrastructure, we have to work on infrastructure with authorities simultaneously. As the operator, this is our responsibility to make the requirement of infrastructure very clear for cyclists and pedalists. And this is being the operator, this is our responsibility. So thank you guys. Thanks a lot.
So Mr. Reddy, your concluding remarks on this, sir.
Yeah, so what the pandemic has brought out is the best, at least when it comes to the Indian mentality of figuring out the solutions when they are the toughest to solve for. As the saying goes, right? If you prove a business model in India, it's immediately scalable anywhere else in the world, right? There are no other problems that exist in the world that you wouldn't have faced in India. So I think most of the ecosystem is poised for a very exciting time forward. This is the time for personal use cases, self-drive use cases, and just the personal use case. That is also why we see and are very bullish on both the cars business as well as the electric bikes business. We are also very bullish on slightly long-term view on the distances in itself. The connectivity and the micro-mobility is more or less dead in the very classical sense. All the investments globally have been paid back. Most are more often than not, many of the millions of dollars of the investments have gone down the drain when it comes to just micro mobility as a sector. So now it is not just about micro mobility, it is more about personal mobility on a self-drive basis. That is what is going to look like in the near term for us. So that's from my side. Obviously, I'll be free for any of you guys to approach. Probably have the largest amount of treasure trove on the data. We have put more than 15,000 bicycles across more than 15 to 20 cities before we paid down on all of those. We operate currently across 45 cities across India with more than 8,000 cars, which in itself shows us a lot much more use cases. We will soon come up with many more use cases, both from electric cars, electric bikes, as well as in-city use cases. You will see all of these in the next 2 to 3 months. Probably still not yet out in the public forum, so I'm not sharing them widely over here. But in the next 1 quarter, you will see a lot many more of these use cases that we will put there on the road. And probably we'll also be the industry leaders in leading many of these infrastructural problems that people, at least the private players, are going to solve for when it comes to the ecosystem of personal self-drive mobility.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And just one last couple of words from Aniket. So, what's your opinion on this, Aniket?
Yes, so I see there is huge demand coming up in the short run, and I see also there is an emerging business model which will be effective in case of India, where we have seen in 2018 where the doctors and the dog bike came up, and the new models were integrated. New models were integrated with the IoT and IT softwares. So I see there will be a huge demand coming up from this side, and the innovation will be coming from the data side of it, where the data and the ride users data, the behavioral data of a user and the right pattern will be analyzed by the operators to identify which aspect of the business is more identifiable. So let's see, those data can be useful for allied sectors like traffic department, insurance, and etc. So a lot of emerging business are going to be there in this segment. Let's see how the operator are going to tackle these challenges few years down the line. Might be let's see, few operators will go out and put up some new wallet business, or insurance business, or they have collaborated with the banks and the insurance, where they have been sharing the data of users, where the insurance companies are coming up and watching the CBILs coming out and the healthy prospect of the business, and the insurance will be premiumized according to that report. So a lot of things have to be seen a few years down the line. Let's see how the operators are going to face it. So that is it from my side. So see.
The data, that point on data was very interesting. Definitely, that's something we are also doing with our project. The experiment that we are trying to do, rather, I mean, it's stalled at the moment, but the moment we get our hands on the cycles, would love to get the data from our, from the field for our project. And yes, that's a very important point. Mr. Srivastava was also talking about that, regular monitoring, churning the data, trying to see, I mean, what's happening, the behavior, studying the behavior on a real-time basis if possible, and tracking it regularly. That's a very important point.
Hey, Prem, before you close off, I think I'll just leave some parting words. If any of the, I think Gargi can attest to this, probably she is best placed. But if any of the business models are hinging on monetizing the data, I would caution them against that. There is no way that the data is getting monetized in the medium term, even for the next 5 years or so, or probably even to 10 years for that matter. When it comes to bikes, obviously it's more usage data, but when it comes to cars, we also look at what sort of driving patterns that the users exhibit, right? At what engine RPMs are these guys driving, which gear, what is the clutch usage, are they over driving the clutch, are they bumping over the speed humps, all of that, right? We measure huge amounts of data, okay? We measure it at 10 hertz rate, meaning there are almost 200 data points coming out from the cars at 10 data points per second. Okay, this is the kind of data that billions of records that we do. When it comes to insurance players or health players or any other players, we have been at the forefront of it in going to the industry and saying that, hey, can we monetize this? Can we look at differential premiums and all of that? India is very nascent in all of this. IRDA is very heavy in terms of regulating insurance industry. Very recently, last quarter, they opened up something called as a sandbox, in which, in a very small fashion, industry players, insurance players can go and experiment with players like us. But all said and done, if any of you guys are thinking that data is going to be there to be made money on, I would caution all of you guys against that. Okay, when you frame your P&Ls.
Right, sir. Thank you so much. So I would like to conclude this. Few quick words on, I mean, just a small vote of thanks. I would just like to propose a vote of thanks to our director, Mr. N. Sridharan, who made this possible. I mean, his constant encouragement for organizing kind of interactive sessions with the industry as really faculty here in our school. I would like to thank Dr. Shuli Mitra, the Dean of Academic Affairs in our school, who's coordinating the organization of these kind of sessions. Then I would like to thank my research assistants on the project, Anil and Vigneshwar. That Anil has been handling the publicity for this and also the technical aspect of organizing this entire show. And I would also like to thank all the technical staff of HPA Bhopal for making this possible, even in these trying circumstances. And thanks to all our panelists. I would really like to thank you immensely for joining at such short notice and sharing such deep insights with all of us. We're all very benefited deeply benefited. And I would come back to you, sir, and Gagi and Aniket, Mr. Jain, Mr. Reddy, Mr. Srivastav, and also touch base with Dr. Fishman also. I would like to share whatever we have learned from this in a concise format, and probably like to get views on that, some kind of a rating on, some broad points, how important you feel those things are. So in order for us to come up with some kind of a checklist. So as a research institute, that would be our contribution. So thanks a lot, and we'll definitely keep in touch. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
all.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Prem.
Bye.